So I think there's three things about your business that I love. And I want to know if these are by design, if they came from trial and error. Maybe you don't even know they're things I love, but there's three things I love about your business. Number one, it's month to month with no contracts. So as soon as you told me that, I'm like, oh, this guy clearly puts his money where his mouth is because he's not trying to trick me into a year contract or paying $5,000 up front or sign up, maybe we'll onboard you, and then you're locked in for 2 years. So I love that. I love that the onboarding was brutal, where you were like, hey, I need you for 2 focused hours. I need you to have every single password for every system you have, and we're going to do it. We're going to get it done, and then I'm never going to bug you again.
Yep.
And then number 3, you actually delivered on that promise that like I'll start getting email responses about some email I sent out, or I'll look on Facebook and I'll have 30 notifications about some freaking ridiculous meme you put up that a bunch of realtors wanted to comment on. And I never worry about it. I was telling you before we started that in 2 years of being on your program, we've had to get in touch with your customer service twice. Once because I screwed up and entered my password wrong so many times on LinkedIn, because I never go on there. You do everything on LinkedIn for me. I entered my password wrong so many times, I had to reset it. So I had to get in touch with you for that. And then another time I screwed up and like uploaded all my realtors to like the client portal. So they were going to get the wrong drip campaign. I'm like, oh shit, somebody's got to unwind this. So other than that, it's like month to month, just do all the hard work up front and then deliver without having to bug me. How much of that from the beginning was by design? How much of that evolved? And how often do you hear the same thing about like why people love your business?
I hear that all the time. And it was by evolution, not design. So the evolution was when we simplified, and the onboarding process, like you said, it's 90 minutes and it's intense and we do everything there. And we always say to everybody, you can multitask and answer emails and work on a file. We're going to do all the heavy lifting, but you need to be on that call so you can see everything that we're doing. And in fact, we're revamping our process now. I'm bringing on another new employee, and they're going to be learning the onboarding. And our onboarding is changing because the needs of our clients are changing. Like I said, now we've got Instagram, and that means that we need to incorporate that into our onboarding. And what we're finding too is when you see your business is lacking somewhere, then you need to address it. So, for example, my right-hand guy who monitors all of our support tickets says, listen, we're getting a consistent stream of people who don't know how to upload their contacts after the initial call. So that means that because our initial call is so overwhelming, then there's so many things that we're doing that they're not retaining that information. We're not spending enough time on it. So we're going to revamp our onboarding call. And what we're going to do is work a little bit harder to get access to everything that we need to do a little bit of it. Like one of the things that impressed you, and it's very impressive to anybody that goes through our onboarding process, is they see us going through and doing this complete audit of their entire online presence and Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, all this stuff. And seeing it is always very impressive. So I've always liked that because people see that we're actually, what's going into that. But we're gonna pull some of that to the backside. In other words, we're gonna get access. We're gonna do some of the most important things up front, and then we're gonna have somebody come and do a sweep afterwards the next day or just immediately after that call, and they're gonna make some of those updates, and we're gonna spend more time using our dashboard and how to upload people into the system, because that's where we found that's where we're maybe failing. And you have to recognize, so like one way to treat that, you go, well, I'm going to make a video and we're going to send this to people afterwards, and we're going to send them 3 videos and they're going to watch them and they'll know. No, they won't. No, they won't. Nobody's ever going to watch the video. I don't ever watch it. I sign up for stuff and I get that, and I appreciate that drip campaign. I'm like, look at how well they're trying to train me, and I have not watched one of those. So
this makes me feel like Tommy Boy, where he's like, yeah, me and her got it on, and he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, but I have a friend who got it on with her. He's like, no, you didn't. And it's like, but you can imagine. He's like, nope, can't even imagine. It's like yeah. You can send loan officers because, to your point about picking what works and what doesn't work, I was talking about this the other day with a friend of mine. We're like, hey, remember the good old days where all you had to do was close a loan for a realtor and you became their preferred realtor and they sent you deals?
Yeah, you were their lender.
And now you got to be their psychologist. You got to do the marketing. You got to send the closing gift. You got to do the post-closing campaign. You got to have your upfront video series to educate the client on the stuff that the realtor should probably be.
And let them take credit for all of it.
And that's fine. Great. And then just, yeah, and what a great job, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. And so, to your point, like the company, I'm sure companies are saying the same thing. Like, hey, remember when all we had to do was close loans at a decent price and loan officers loved us. But now it's like, we got to be their marketing wing and we got to help with their reimbursements and we got to send them the coolest t-shirts in the market. And it's like, Jesus, man, the market has just evolved so much where our expectations are so high. And what I like is that you guys, again, whether this is evolved or just by design originally, you guys have set the expectation with what you guys do well. You execute on that, and you've got the product knowledge. Like when we were doing the onboarding, I think I had it on some of my websites that like I was open 24 hours. And you're like, bro, Google knows loan officers are not open 24 hours. You're not an emergency plumber. You're not an emergency, locksmith or something like that. Change it from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever. Right. You'll get more traffic. And then just the simple shit of like, hey, on one website, you're loan officer Scott Groves. On another website, you're Scott Groves, the mortgage broker. On another, a website, you're vice president of operations for Guaranteed Rate, which I don't know why everybody at Guaranteed Rate is a vice president. A little jab there to my buddies at Guaranteed Rate. But just having it all consistent where Facebook business page, LinkedIn, Yelp, Google, it all says what it says. It all looks exactly the same. It's just like, why is this stuff? Well, let me ask you this. Why is that so important? Like, why is that so important to the world of the internet that Scott Groves looks consistent across all sites?
Well, part of it is because Google is looking at all those sites. And if you confuse Google, Google won't put you to be the best search result.